This, not normal. And neither is this. The strangest part is this episode is full of clips like this. Ghosts, cryptids, conspiracies, you name it, we've got a little bit of everything. My name is Steve, this is Classified Captures. Now, instead of just talking about it, let's get into it. Older, superstitious folks have always said the dogs howl when they see something beyond our world, like spirits or ghosts. This video comes from Indonesia. It was recorded around 2 a.m. when the dogs in this particular neighborhood began barking like crazy. They were outside in the front yard, which was open to the street, when the whole incident took place. Everyone heard them bark, but no one knew why. Thankfully, a security camera positioned to face the street and yard captured everything. In the clip, we see something that's hard to explain. A pair of legs, just legs, can be seen walking down the street. There's no upper body, just legs casually striding down the road, like it's the most normal thing ever. The dog's eyes follow the movement, tracking the legs, and barking until the figure walks completely out of frame. A few seconds later, the man of the house comes outside to check on the dogs, clearly confused by their behavior. He looks around, sees nothing unusual, and goes back inside. After all, if you've ever owned a dog, you've probably noticed how they suddenly start barking or growling into space, especially in the early hours of the morning. He probably might have thought it was one of those moments. If this clip proves anything, it's that even though we see nothing, there's most likely something lurking around, even if it's invisible to our eyes. Prior to our discovering this video, there were some who believe dogs do that because they've seen spirits. This clip might have just proved them right. While the community seems to be gravitating toward this theory, not everyone is convinced. There are some who think we're seeing the characters the way they appear because of the shutter speed of the camera and the fact that it's shooting in low light. I'm no camera expert, but I know these variables can affect the quality of footage and even give off this blurry, ghostly effect. Maybe we're just overthinking it. Maybe there really was spirits out there that day. What do you guys think? The band, John Hollier and the Reverie, were just trying to rehearse. Nothing fancy, just a regular jam session, when something very irregular happened.
Sitting at here at rehearsal, this is coming through.
Something tells me this guy has something to do with it.
Out of nowhere, an eerie, unidentifiable frequency started pouring through their amps. No one touched a dial, no one plugged in anything new, just pure unexplained frequency that didn't sound like anything you'd expect from normal interference. It was weird. It was chilling. It was almost intentional. Now, I'm sure skeptics will roll their eyes and chalk it up to radio crosstalk, a rogue signal bouncing off something metallic, or even interference from a nearby cell tower. These explanations are always the first to show up, but seasoned musicians know what feedback and tech glitches sound like, and this wasn't it. So what are we dealing with then? Well, there are some who believe certain sound frequencies can blend through from beyond what we understand. These can originate either from military experiments, parallel dimensions, or even disruptions in our reality's matrix. Could this have been a brief brush with something we're not meant to hear, something encrypted, cloaked, or cosmic? Whatever it was, it clearly did not belong. You heard it too, so what are your thoughts?
Sitting at here at rehearsal, this is coming through.
Something tells me this guy has something to do with it.
Some guys in the UK shared this bizarre footage, and honestly, it might just mess with your head a little. The video shows a quiet neighborhood street, nothing too out of the ordinary, until you spot the person standing at the curb. At first glance, it looks like he's just waiting for something. And then you notice that he's not moving at all, not even a twitch. His hands are shoved deep into his hoodie pocket, his head tilted downwards with one of his legs slightly mid-stride. It's almost like he was about to take a step, but somehow ended up completely still. Then a car comes driving and passes right in front of this person, but still he doesn't react. People online are losing it over this, with many saying it looks like a glitch in the Matrix. You know, like when a video game freezes for a second or the simulation messes up and forgets to unpause the character. Some even suggest his map was still downloading in front of him like a video game. Some even suggest that the player in another dimension might have paused the game and walked away for a lunch break. Sounds funny, I know, but do you have a more logical explanation for this? If you do, kindly share.
He's gone AFK. Whoever the controlling him needs to hit mine, bud, sharpish, mate. What the I'm not home, I'm eating.
Not too long ago, people became completely obsessed with the Labubu dolls. You know, those small furry little creatures with mischievous grins stretched across their faces. They look cute, almost endearing, but something is unsettling about the way they smile. Ever since the Labubu craze took off, disturbing stories and eerie conspiracies have started surfacing online. Some say these expensive collectible dolls might be cursed. One story involves a girl who slept next to her Labubu doll, only to wake up with strange red markings she couldn't explain on her skin. Another video shows a Labubu doll swinging back and forth from a car's rearview mirror while the car was parked, engine off, and all the windows were tightly shut. How is that possible with no breeze flowing through the car? And perhaps the most chilling clip shows a child watching her iPad at night. A mother had set up a camera in the room for safety. The little girl had a Labubu doll sitting next to the iPad on the table when suddenly the girl screamed. She says the doll moved. When the mother rewatched the footage, sure enough, you can see it. The doll moves on its own. Some online theories compare them to modern-day versions of Pazuzu, which is a demonic spirit from ancient lore. So are these stories real? Is there something darker hidden behind those white grins and glassy eyes? Or are people just letting their imaginations run wild?
Serious? Nobody's touching that. Nobody's in that car. What?
This woman goes by the name of Grace. In the video, she's wearing a bikini, walking alone down a quiet street at night, filming herself as she heads home. Grace was in Costa Rica, returning from the beach after what looked like a fun day. She had likely had a few drinks and was just vibing. But at some point during that walk, she started to feel uneasy. Something about the air shifted and her instincts kicked in. She pulled out her phone and began recording, and that's when it happened. A strange, deep howling sound can be heard. It was loud and sounded close. You can see the fear settling on her face immediately. She doesn't try to investigate or even stand around. Instead, she picks up her pace and fast walks straight home. She rushes to unlock the door to get in. The sound itself is haunting. Viewers in the comments have all kinds of theories. Some say it might have been a cryptid, maybe a Bigfoot-like creature. Others believe it could have been a howler monkey, which is native to Costa Rica and known for their loud guttural calls. That would make sense, but we never see the source of the sound to confirm it.
Monkeys are gonna get me. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god. Help. Oh my god, I can't open the fucking door, guys.
I came across this video recently, and it really had me doing a lot of research. It was drawing some bizarre and almost unbelievable parallels between the lives of John F. Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln. Now, let me tell you, some of them are absolutely wild. Take a look.
Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. John F. Kennedy was elected to Congress in 1946. Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860. John F. Kennedy was elected president in 1960. Both were particularly concerned with civil rights. Both wives lost a child while living in the White House. Both presidents were shot on a Friday. Both presidents were shot in the head. Lincoln's secretary was named Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary was named Lincoln. Both were assassinated by Southerners. Both were succeeded by Southerners named Johnson. Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, born in 1908. John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated Lincoln, was born in 1839. Lee Harvey Oswald, who assassinated Kennedy, born in 1939. Both assassins were known by their three names, both names composed of 15 letters. Lincoln was shot at the theater named Ford. Kennedy was shot in a car called Lincoln, made by Ford. Both and Oswald were assassinated before their trials. And here's the kicker: a week before Lincoln was shot, he was in Monroe, Maryland. A week before Kennedy was shot, he was with Marilyn Monroe. And Lincoln was shot in a theater, and the assassin ran to a warehouse. Kennedy was shot from a warehouse, and the assassin ran to a theater.
I had to dig a little deeper, and it turns out there are some cracks in this eerie comparison. For starters, Lincoln didn't have a secretary named Kennedy, despite what the video said. John Wilkes Booth, the man who killed Kennedy, wasn't born in 1838, he was born in 1839. Oh, and Marilyn Monroe passed away more than a year before Kennedy was assassinated, not just a week before like the channel claimed. Still, even after clearing up these exaggerations, the remaining parallels are still incredibly strange. I mean, what are the odds that two presidents, a century apart, linked by the chain of events and details that line up almost too perfectly? Is this one giant coincidence, or could there be something deeper? I'll let you guys decide on this one. A woman jolted out of bed with an uneasy feeling. The night before, she'd heard strange noises coming from a porch, like someone was out there. It unsettled her so much that the next morning, before doing anything else, she went straight to check the surveillance footage, and what she found left her speechless. Right in front of the bench, tucked into the right corner of a porch, something appeared. For just a moment, a shape flickered into existence, then vanished again, as if it had never been there. Let's rewind it and watch it closely. The shape seems to pop in and then fade right back out, too quickly and too sharply to be a trick of the light. Some who've seen the footage say the figure looks like it has a human-like head and shoulders, but it's hard to tell. The edges are fuzzy and the form doesn't behave like a person walking in and out of frame. It's more like a glitch in reality. Could it have been a cloaked figure briefly uncloaking? Some believe so. Others say it might be an interdimensional being or a ghost. Then there are the skeptics saying it's just a camera illusion, but those who know the feeling of being watched know better. Sometimes the scariest part of having cameras is the things we capture on them. They say climate change is now unavoidable, and over the years, scientists and researchers have come up with countless ways to slow it down, or at least manage the damage. From cutting emissions to carbon capture tech, it's been one idea after another. But guess what their next big idea is? Covering the sun. Yeah, seriously, some scientists are now exploring ways to block or dim portions of the sun's rays to cool the planet. The concept is known as solar geoengineering. One popular method being discussed involves spraying tiny particles into the upper atmosphere to reflect sunlight away from the Earth. The idea sounds like science fiction, but it's real. Supporters say it could buy us time, especially as global temperatures continue to rise, but critics are warning that it might also mess with weather patterns, crops, rainfall, and ecosystems in ways we can't predict. Imagine one region cooling too much while another gets plunged into drought. We've already changed the planet enough. Is dimming the sun really the answer, or could it end up being a gamble that we regret? You know, the thing that really jerks my chain is that scientists, they're supposed to be clever individuals, but when have any of them ever understood that if you fuck with nature, it's gonna come back and bite you on the ass? So this is stupid. A security guard was working the night shift when he saw something truly bizarre. He was watching the monitors when a strange humanoid figure appeared at the front gates. It looked like a dark silhouette that was barely solid, almost like it was flickering in and out of view. The figure slowly walks across the property. It looks almost transparent, like it was made of smoke or shadow. According to the guard, he wasn't the only one who noticed something odd about the place. His co-workers had told him before that they thought the property might be haunted. They had all seen strange things wandering by in the past, sometimes just outside the fence, other times near the buildings, but this time the guard saw it with his own eyes and even caught it on camera. But what could it be? Some kind of residual energy, or maybe even something more sinister? Acid rain has always been one of the most dangerous threats to ecosystems. It damages forests, pollutes water bodies, and eats away at buildings and soil, but thankfully, scientists have figured out how to manage it over the years, mainly by filtering the affected water and reducing emissions. But now, there's something new and worse. Researchers have just discovered a new type of acid rain, and unlike the one we're used to, this one is water-soluble. That means it blends so well with water that our current filtration systems can't remove it. It's much harder to detect, harder to control, and much more dangerous for both the environment and human health. At the moment, scientists don't yet have the technology to properly filter or neutralize this type of acid rain. Yeah. I don't have words for this. We just have to be careful. There's no doubt that this could be the next big environmental crisis in the making. A group of women had gone on a peaceful lake getaway to celebrate a birthday. As the sun began to set, they gathered near the water for a photograph. Everyone was smiling, enjoying the moment. It was one of those simple, beautiful memories. But later, when the owner of the photo was going through the pictures, she noticed something strange. Right behind one of the women sitting in the group was a small boy. He was just standing there, facing the camera, as if he'd been part of the group. But none of the women had brought a child. It was an adults-only trip, and everyone was sure that there were no kids anywhere around the lake during the stay. The boy looked kind of ghostly, like he wasn't fully solid, almost like a faded figure standing in the background. And to make it even weirder, the woman shared the live version of the image. In the live shot, the camera sensor scans all across the woman but not the boy. It didn't register him being there. So, was he a ghost? A Redditor recently shared a photo online that left people unsettled. It was meant to be a cute snapshot of his toddler son enjoying a weekend at his grandmother's house. According to the grandmother, they'd gone out to the park that day. She was sitting under the shade of a tree while the little boy played in the open field. But later, when she looked at the image again, her heart skipped a beat. There weren't one, but two little boys in the photo. You can clearly see two toddlers walking side by side with their backs to the camera. One is wearing white and the other blue. Her grandson was wearing white, and she swore on everything that he was completely alone. Startled, she immediately sent the image to her son, the boy's father, to ask who the child in blue could be. He had no idea, nor did anyone else, so now the family was shaken. Some people online speculated that it might have been an imaginary friend caught on camera. After all, kids are known to create vivid playmates in their minds. Skeptics chimed in, saying it could be a digital edit or a double exposure, maybe even a passing kid that no one noticed. But the grandmother insists that there were no other children there. So, was it just a coincidence or proof that some imaginary friends aren't so imaginary after all? Do you believe in mystics? If you don't, you might want to rethink that after hearing about this one. Her name is Baba Vanga, a blind Bulgarian mystic whose eerie predictions have shocked the world for decades. Despite passing away in 1996, many of her prophecies have come true with unsettling accuracy. People credit her for predicting 9/11, the COVID-19 pandemic, the Chernobyl disaster, and even the death of Princess Diana. And now one of her most talked about predictions is supposedly about the year 2025. According to reports, Baba Vanga claimed that in 2025, extraterrestrials would arrive on Earth. They will arrive in a way that will dramatically alter human life as we know it. Some say she described it as a moment where the truth could no longer be hidden, that humanity will witness the appearance of alien beings or spaceships that will shift how we understand our place in the universe. She even hinted that this event would lead to major political and technological changes worldwide. Skeptics argue that her predictions are vague or misinterpreted, but others say her track record is too consistent to ignore. So, are the aliens already on their way? And if they are they bringing knowledge or chaos? Have you ever been to Chuck E. Cheese before? If you have, then you probably remember those creepy animatronics, especially this giant mouse. In the video, the mouse is holding on to a boy, and the boy looks pretty uncomfortable. You can see him trying to wiggle out of the robot's grip. It's already a weird moment, but then it gets even stranger. A worker comes over to scold the robot, probably trying to break up the awkward scene, but just as he's doing that, the robot mouse turns its head toward him. Now remember, this is a robot that's supposed to follow pre-programmed motions. It shouldn't be reacting to people like that. And the way it turned looked deliberate. This video has been around for a while, and when it first surfaced, it creeped a lot of people out. Some even said the robot looked alive. But it's just a machine, and this could have been a coincidence, moving to look at the man like that. But machines can go faulty. So if you ever take your kids to a place like that, maybe keep them a safe distance from those animatronics, just in case. Someone recently shared what they believe might be a Bigfoot sighting. They were out walking their dogs, just casually filming the trail and the surrounding woods. As they panned the camera across the tree line, something strange zipped by in the background. It moved quickly, but you can clearly see an upright figure completely covered in dog fur, moving quickly and smoothly across a thick section of the forest. What's odd is how fluid the movement was. It's as though it were gliding through the trees. There was no stumbling or tripping like a person would in the snow. Now, this area is actually known as a Bigfoot hotspot, so a lot of folks believe that's actually what it was, but others are skeptical. Some say it could have just been a person in a thick winter coat. After all, it had snowed and the ground was covered in snow, so maybe the person was just sliding across the slope. Still, there's something about the shape and motion that doesn't feel entirely human, so what do you think? Is this just someone bundled up and moving weirdly in the snow, or did this person really film a Bigfoot? Let us know your thoughts and comments below. Let's take a look at a few gadgets and technologies that are crossing the line. For starters, scientists have now grown brain cells in a lab and are teaching them to play video games. Real, living neurons that can process, respond, and even improve over time outside of a human body. Sounds like the beginning of a sci-fi movie, doesn't it? Then there's AI that's able to figure out your password just by listening to you type. The rhythm and sound of your keystrokes might be all it needs. No need for hacking. Digital billboards are also getting an upgrade. These new models are built with facial recognition and emotion-reading sensors, and as you walk past, they scan your face, assess your mood, and instantly switch the ad to something more suitable for you. And just when you think you've got a little privacy in your bathroom, smart toilets are being developed to analyze your waste. From checking your diet to detecting early signs of disease, these toilets could give you a full health report every time you flush. Now, none of this is rumor. These technologies are either in development, being tested, or already rolled out. The chances are interacting with them without even realizing it. One day, we might look back and wonder when we stopped being the users and started being the product. This footage is straight out of China, and it's alarming. You can see several street lights along the road smoking, sparking, and even catching fire. In some parts, the lights actually fall off their poles, and it's not just one or two, multiple lights are malfunctioning at the same time. But what exactly is going on here? Now, keep in mind that China is one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world. They've integrated science and tech into almost every corner of everyday life, from smart surveillance systems to facial recognition, AI robots, and high-tech street infrastructure. Their cities are just packed with smart devices, so when something like this happens, it's a big deal. Some speculate that this could be a cyber attack from an enemy state to send a message. When it comes to enemies, China has many of those, so it's not very surprising that people will think that. There are also a few who just feel this might be nothing more than a serious malfunction in the smart grid. This sounds plausible, but to have so many of them at the same time is just weird. Whatever the cause is, this kind of widespread failure is not normal, and in a country that relies heavily on interconnected tech systems, well, this is even more concerning. A home security camera was set up facing a quiet community. As dusk fell, the camera picked up something strange. A sudden flash of light, followed by what looked like an orb zipping by at high speed. This wasn't a meteor or fireworks, and it definitely wasn't a light show, but then again you have to wonder, what kind of object moves like that with no sound and such precision? Some suggest experimental military tech, others think it's a surveillance drone not made by humans at all. You've seen the clip, so what do you also think? Do you believe in coincidences? Because this one is crazy. Take a look at this old footage of John Lennon and Yoko Ono. They're sitting in a room reading through fan mail when John opens one letter that instantly changes the mood. Listen closely to what he reads.
Dear Mr. Lennon, from information I received while using a Ouija board, I believe that there will be an attempt to assassinate you. The spirit that gave me this information was Brian Epstein.
The letter is from a fan who says they used a Ouija board, and the spirit they contacted told them that John Lennon was going to be assassinated. They also wrote that the spirit who gave them this message claimed to be Brian Epstein, the Beatles' former manager. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Brian Epstein passed away years before John did, and John Lennon didn't. In fact, he was murdered, just like the letter implied. You can see John reading it out loud just like it's just another strange message, but in hindsight, it hits differently. Could it really be just a coincidence? Well, maybe, but let's not forget that this message came through a Ouija board, and those things have a long reputation for being tied to the paranormal. In the paranormal community, they're not something you mess around with lightly. So what do you think? Was this just eerie timing, or did the spirit of Brian Epstein really warn John about his death?
Dear Mr. Lennon, from information I received while using a Ouija board, I believe that there will be an attempt to assassinate you. The spirit that gave me this information was Brian Epstein.
This is an $18,000 3-day boot camp that promises to turn you into an alpha male. Yeah, 18 grand to get screamed at while doing push-ups and crawling through the dirt. It's honestly wild how many of these programs are popping up because they're not really selling strength or confidence. They're selling the illusion of it, and they're doing it by preying on your insecurities. The truth is, most men aren't looking to dominate the world. They're just looking for a real challenge, something hard, something that proves to themselves and maybe to others that they're strong and capable. But modern life doesn't exactly hand out these kinds of challenges anymore, so now, here come the grifters offering artificial hardship wrapped in macho branding. You want a real test of strength? Try this. Take care of your people, show up for your friends, help a stranger without filming it. Be kind without needing applause. Lift others up instead of stepping on them. That's what being a real man looks like. Not letting some guy on TRT scream in your face for 3 days. Okay, maybe I went on a bit of a rant there, but yeah, you guys agree, right? You want to know what really makes you a man? I'm going to tell you right now. Be kind to people, show up for your friends, help a stranger out without having to film it. Just be kind without needing applause and lift people up. That, my friend, is what makes you a man. Back in 2022, something strange happened at Mammoth Cave National Park in Kentucky. It was strange enough that federal officials got involved. According to reports, a couple had gone camping in the park when they were startled by the sound of gunshots in the middle of the night. Turns out the gunshots had come from another camper, a man who was out there with his young son. When questioned, the man said he had fired his gun because he saw something approaching them, and not just anything. He claimed it was Bigfoot. Yup, Bigfoot. He insists that the creature had come too close to him and his son, and in fear, he pulled out his weapon and fired. Now, you might think this sounds like a campfire story, but here's the part that makes this so interesting. Federal agents actually investigated it. This wasn't dismissed as a joke or some wild story. So what does that tell us? People say Bigfoot is just a myth, a hoax, or something people use to scare each other in the woods. But if it's all fake, why would the feds get involved in a shooting tied to a Bigfoot sighting? Could this be a first crack in the wall that proves that the cryptids might be out there?
Again and his girlfriend returned to their tent. Said about 5 to 10 minutes later, they heard at least one gunshot. The man and his son returned to the couple's tent and stated that Bigfoot had emerged from the woods and approached them, so he fired his weapon.
A man came home one evening and called his wife to open the door for him, but she told him she wasn't home. She'd gone out with the kids. So imagine his confusion when he looked up at the house and noticed that the light was on in one of the rooms, and then for just a split second he saw something move, a shadow right at the window. But no one was supposed to be home, so what the hell did he just see? Was it an intruder or thief hiding inside, thinking the house was empty, or was it something else entirely? Because if no one was there and the house was locked, then that shadow shouldn't exist. Whatever it was, it left the man frozen on the spot. And honestly, what would you do if that were your house? Was it just a coincidence, or is there something else living in that home when no one was there? Also, why zoom in everywhere but the face? Okay, before anyone comes at me for sounding like a skeptic, we better move on in the next clip. A man was visiting the Grand Canyon, and like most people, he decided to film the incredible views. The footage shows the vast stretch of mountains reaching far into the distance, but as the camera slowly pans over one particular ridge, something strange comes into view. Right there at the top of one of the cliffs is what looks like a perfectly smooth hole carved into the side of the mountain. It looks like an entrance that goes deep inside the rock, and it doesn't look natural at all. The shape is too deliberate, but who made it? Could this be a hidden cave created by an ancient civilization, a secret military entrance, or something not of this world? Some people believe the Grand Canyon holds hidden cities, lost tunnels, and even underground bases. So is this just another rock formation or a clue to those secrets? If you're someone who always has your head down, glued to your phone, even while walking outside, then this video is for you. This clip is from China back in 2017 at the hospital garage, and it captures a woman completely distracted by her phone. She was so focused on her screen that she didn't notice where she was going. Right in front of her were a pair of automated doors. One door slid open automatically and a car drove out, but the woman didn't even flinch or look up. As soon as the vehicle cleared, she walked right in, still staring down at her phone. What she'd unknowingly entered was an automated car lift system. This is basically a vertical elevator for cars, not people. The security footage shows her stepping in just as the doors behind her closed shut, trapping her inside. The lift immediately started moving, carrying her down to another level, and when it reached the lower floor, another car was already coming through the entrance, and tragically, it hit her leg as she moved in. She was injured, but thankfully, since this happened inside a hospital, she received help right away. Still, this entire situation could have been avoided if she had just looked up. Let this be a caution that the phone can wait, but your safety can't. Back in 2014, the world witnessed one of the most shocking cyber attacks in entertainment history. Sony Pictures was hacked allegedly by North Korea, and all because of a comedy film. It was a satire called The Interview, starring James Franco and Seth Rogen. The movie poked fun at the North Korean regime with a fictional plot to assassinate Kim Jong-un. It was meant to be an outrageous comedy, but the response was anything but funny. Hackers who identified themselves as the Guardians of Peace breached Sony's servers and leaked everything from confidential emails, unannounced film projects, entire scripts, unreleased movies, and private employee data. The attack humiliated studio execs, exposed internal racism and sexism, and forced major changes in leadership and policy. The fallout was massive. Sony had to pull the film from major theatrical releases due to threats of violence, and since then, Hollywood has become hyper-cautious about political content, especially anything involving authoritarian regimes. Some say the Sony hack helped usher in a more sanitized, corporate-safe version of the entertainment industry as we see today. We've looked at this topic before, but it keeps coming up, so let's take another look at the same strange footage involving the popular televangelist Kenneth Copeland. Many people question whether he's truly a man of God. Some believe there's something darker going on behind the scenes of his massive ministry, and it's often pulled straight from his sermons. In multiple videos, people have pointed out odd behavior. Watch closely. His gaze sometimes feels unnerving, his laughter can spiral into something wild and unsettling, and in some moments his movements are so sudden and aggressive, there's even footage of him jerking his body or forcefully gesturing in a way that many say looks unnatural. Some have gone as far as to suggest he's possessed by a demon, or at least influenced by something beyond the ordinary. This is an idea that contradicts everything you'd expect from a Christian leader. Of course, to others, it's all just performance, a dramatic style of preaching, exaggerated for effect, but whether it's theater or something more troubling, these clips raise eyebrows for a reason.
Be like Moses, and he'll live 120 years. And he said, yeah, preach it, brother, preach it, brother, preach it. Just before the cross, the pure, spotless blood of God, and Hesed was performed for me.
This video was shared by a woman from the Philippines. She said it all began around 1 a.m. when she was up late watching TV. That's when she heard a loud knock at the door and the voice of a woman screaming and begging to be let in. She didn't open the door. Instead, she peeked through the window but saw nothing. 2 nights later, it happened again. This time there was no screaming, just loud, insistent knocking. This time she slowly opened the door just a crack, and that's when she saw it. A woman in a dark robe, bent unnaturally low with long messy hair that covered most of her face. As soon as the door opened, the figure suddenly took off, disappearing into the night. The woman slammed the door shut in a shock. So, who now believes it wasn't human at all, but a witch possibly trying to gain entrance into her home? And perhaps the reason the figure fled when the door opened was that she had some kind of protection that kept him from stepping in. Someone shared this strange video they took while stepping outside to get some fresh air. It was supposed to be a quiet moment, but then they looked up and caught this. A massive, dark shape glided through the sky. It might just look like a large bird or maybe even a plane, but slow it down and it gets weirder. The wings are broad and bat-like, the tail curves down, and the head was like a snout. Some people online are saying it looks exactly like Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon, and honestly, they're not wrong. The silhouette is eerily close, but this is the internet after all. Some argue it's a drone, others say it's just CGI or a manipulated shadow. As for me, I want to believe, but something about the clip feels a little too clean.
Dragons ever do come back? Maybe this is the first sign of it, or maybe they never went away. Maybe dinosaurs were actually dragons. How do we know?
What in there? I'm recording it. What the hell is that?
This video was taken at Lake Champlain, and it shows something strange. Right there in the water, you can see an odd-looking creature with just the top of its head at the surface. Whatever it is, it's pretty massive, and it moves smoothly through the water, almost too smoothly for any regular animal. Now, let's get this out of the way. This is not a hippo. The shape of the head, especially that long snout, resembles a crocodile or an alligator, but even then, something about it looks off. The skin texture just doesn't match any known animal we'd expect in that lake. So what are we looking at? Well, for those who don't know, there's a folklore creature tied to Lake Champlain. It's called Champ, short for Champy. People say it's like a serpent lake monster, like North America's version of the Loch Ness Monster. Stories about Champ go way back, and although scientists haven't confirmed anything, there are tons of alleged sightings and even a few old photographs and videos floating around. This particular video adds to the mystery. Is it a hoax, a misidentified animal, or did someone just capture a real glimpse of the legendary lake monster? Here we have another strange encounter in the wilderness. A TikToker in Japan embarked on a camping adventure in the wilderness, expecting a serene night under the stars. As night fell, everything was normal until this started to happen. The van began to shake aggressively and the door of the van banged loudly. Now, normally, you'd think maybe there's a storm brewing or perhaps some mischievous critter having a late-night party on the van, but the footage from the outdoor camera he had set up shows nothing of the sort. Naturally, this left room for lots of speculation and theories. Some thought it was a spirit trying to send a message, whereas others could swear it was a forest guardian playing pranks on unsuspecting campers. As interesting as each of these theories might be, there's certainly no way to confirm which is true. One thing we can confirm, however, is that the young lad is lucky to have made it out in one piece without any damage to his body or soul. Just a quick reminder before the next clip comes, if you still haven't liked, commented, subscribed, could you do so right now? You wouldn't want me to send Mr. Bigfoot after you now, would you? Our next clip takes us to the depths of a mysterious cave, where a group of intrepid individuals stumbles upon a creature.
He had the curious eyes with an otherworldly glow that drew immediate attention to its strange and captivating appearance. Upon closer inspection, the creature's ears exhibited an unusual structure resembling human ears, yet with a distinctive twist. Notably, the lower part seemed absent, while the upper part took on a pointed appearance at the tip. The brave explorers decided they'd stumbled upon something beyond the ordinary and took matters into their own hands and managed to secure the creature, suspecting it might be a jinn. For the uninitiated, a jinn is a supernatural entity often depicted in Middle Eastern mythology. They said to possess unique powers and exist in a realm beyond our normal perception. But if that's the case, how did these guys manage to capture one, using just physical force? Unable to find answers to these, some debate that this may be nothing more than a mutant, perhaps a reptilian man. I know what you're thinking, that's even more ludicrous than the jinn, but how do you explain what we're seeing?
On
May the 19th, 1980, Mount St. Helens in southwestern Washington erupted in one of the most powerful and destructive volcanic events in U.S. history. The eruption devastated vast areas of forest, dramatically reshaping the landscape and tragically claiming around 57 lives. In the aftermath, the region lay in ruins, and experts were dispatched to assess the destruction and search for signs of life. But alongside the destruction, some of the recovery teams reportedly encountered something strange. One individual shared an eerie account of what they found in the area. Take a listen.
1970s, before Mount St. Helens erupted, me and this friend, we were fishing summer steelhead in the Green River, the one that flows into the North Fork of the Toutle River. We were about 15 miles north of Mount St. Helens. And I'd caught one steelhead and put him under some rocks in the river, but at the mouth of what was Devil's Creek. And we were working our way back up the river, just following game trails. And all of a sudden, from across the river, something yelled at us. I've never heard anything like it before. It was a humanoid type sound, but about 20 times louder than a human could yell. And all I felt like was getting out of there as fast as I could.
He said they found the remains that seemed to belong to Bigfoot, a huge humanoid figure covered in hair from head to toe lying on the ground. According to the witness, soldiers were guarding certain parts of the devastated region, possibly to prevent people from discovering these mysterious remains. He also mentioned hearing a loud, sorrowful cry echoing through the forest, which he believed could have been from a Bigfoot. Though he didn't investigate further, the experience left him very shaken. What do you make of this?
What made you think that it wasn't a bear screaming?
I don't think a bear would make that kind of a noise. It just was too much of a humanoid type sound.
Was it how loud was it?
Oh, it was awful loud. It rocked back and forth across the valley. It was so loud. I mean, it was something to make your blood run cold.
A group of workers were out in the Oregon forest when they started hearing strange sounds coming deep within the woods. Take a listen. The noise was loud, almost like a howl, but it didn't seem to resemble the typical sound of a wolf. Instead, the vocalizations had an eerie quality more in line with what many associate with Bigfoot. The echoes of the sound filled the forest, making it even harder to pinpoint exactly what was making it. Could this be the legendary beast making its presence known? I guess we may never truly know. Imagine walking out of your room to enjoy the evening sky and then coming across this. While the visual spectacle is undeniably captivating, let's not forget that lurking beneath the mesmerizing display is a force of nature that demands respect. The sheer power and unpredictability of these bolts makes them a force to be reckoned with. As we marvel at the awe-inspiring beauty of the night sky set ablaze, it's crucial to acknowledge the inherent danger that accompanies such displays. Lightning storms, as spectacular as they may look, can be very dangerous. Observe the appropriate precautions during such storms, and whatever you do, don't pick up your camera and stand in the rain trying to get a picture. You might not make it back home. Next, take a look at this security footage of a backyard that captured something rather sinister. The video starts off with what appears to be a calm night with nothing out of the ordinary, but in a few seconds we see something emerge from the darkness. Behold, it was a tall, pale figure with an imposing stature that dwarfed the surrounding trees. Standing at an impressive height, estimated to be around 8 to 9 feet or more, this being appears to be in black attire. The creature's unsettling presence is accentuated by its glowing eyes, casting an otherworldly appearance. What creature could this be? Is it a wandering zombie, which would explain why it's wearing clothes, or is there more to it? I mean, its height is definitely not human. Or am I sleeping seeing what's not there? What do you guys think?
Focus. That's it, right? Ah! What the
A woman was parked in front of a building one night when she noticed something strange behind a nearby structure. Curious, she took out her phone to record. There, behind the wall, was a dark figure that would appear and disappear, almost as if it was glitching in and out of existence. It wasn't like a flickering light or something faulty. This was outside, and whatever it was, it seemed to be very real. You have to wonder, though, what could this strange, vanishing figure have been? Some sort of new paranormal entity moving into our plane, or a true glitch in our world? I guess we will never truly know. But still, do share your thoughts.
Focus. That's it, right? Ah! What the
Wow, that's beautiful. What is that?
Speaking of UFOs, a woman who was out at a park one night noticed a strange light flickering in the sky. It seemed like the light was coming from something floating above, hovering in the air. Many have described similar sightings where lights appear to flicker or hover without any clear explanation. With the increasing number of UFO reports, it's hard to dismiss these sightings entirely. Now that you've seen it, what do you think of it?
Wow, that's beautiful. What is that?
During a walk through the wilderness, someone came across this hole in the ground. Usually looking at the hole, you would think it was some kind of pit or watering hole, but instead it was something entirely different. As our curious wanderer trains the camera lens on this unsuspecting hole, brace yourselves for the jaw-dropping revelation. Instead of the anticipated pit, what's unveiled is a mysterious spiral staircase leading into the depths of the earth. Yeah, you heard that correctly, an underground facility right there in the heart of the wilderness. This facility had lights on it that were still switched on. Now, either this is like one of those World War bunkers that had some pretty good technology that can keep the lights on for all these years, or this is a secret facility. If it's the former, kudos to the engineers who crafted the bunker that can keep the lights on for what seems like forever. But if it's the latter, then we have a problem. What could they be hiding from us that requires a top-secret underground facility in the heart of the wilderness? This man who saw this bizarre-looking worm and put it in his palm. As the man taps the creature, it responds by extending what appears to be a whitish root into the man's palm. This raises the questions about what this creature could be. Leeches, known for their blood-sucking tendencies, typically don't exhibit this kind of behavior. However, the presence of a root-like extension raises questions about the creature's biological characteristics and its interactions with its environment. Without much info on this creature, we're torn between speculations on whether this creature is a known species displaying a unique behavior or if it's an entirely new species that has been discovered.
Take a look at this next footage taken from a security camera in a home. The dog is seen sitting on the floor, minding its own business. It looks to be chewing something, perhaps a bone or a toy. Out of nowhere, this happens. An unseen force suddenly moves the dog to the other side of the room. At first, I thought the dog moved by itself, but that would be just unnatural. Having looked at the clip several times, I agree it's quite unusual and disturbing, but I just can't put my finger on what's behind the whole thing. What could have caused this? There are no visible signs of anything or anyone around that could have moved the dog so abruptly. Is it a paranormal occurrence, or is there a more logical explanation we might be missing? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Hotels are very convenient when you travel to a new place and need a place to sleep or a roof over your head. However, I came across this footage that just unlocked a new type of fear for me. In the first clip, a man was in his assigned room when he saw something alarming. A tool was being passed beneath the door, attempting to unlock it. Someone was using this device to try and gain access to the room. As soon as the man noticed this, he yelled out and the person ran away. In a similar instance in the next clip, someone tied a metal hook to a rope and, like in the previous footage, passed it under the door, attempting to open it. Fortunately for the one in the room and unfortunately for the other person, the door was locked and the individual was aware. Imagine if the opposite was the case. This could have led to a tragic situation. If there's anything to learn from this clip, it's to always make sure you keep your hotel doors locked, stay vigilant, and prioritize your safety while traveling.
You know those conspiracies of there being another world within our world? The age-old tale of a hollow earth talk? Well, these guys found something that might just prove that theory. On one of their expeditions, these individuals stumbled upon a strange hole in the ice. Out of curiosity, they took out a camera and lowered it into the hole to look inside. What they found was far beyond their own imaginations. Instead of the expected icy expanse, the camera unveiled dried ground beneath the ice. Once this footage hit the internet, many believed this was the evidence they needed to confirm that there is indeed another world existing within our world, aka the Hollow Earth. While some may dismiss it as a quirk of nature or a peculiar ice formation, these individuals let their imaginations run wild with thoughts of subterranean worlds and hidden realms. The Hollow Earth enthusiasts found a glimmer of validation in their unexpected footage. Looking at the footage, I can see why they think that, but do you share in their excitement and enthusiasm? Many don't, especially Julius, my new assistant. Aaron, the believer in all things paranormal, wanted to visit the site, but unfortunately our adventurers refused to disclose the exact location and decided to keep it their little secret. Bummer. I almost fell off my chair when I saw this next image. The picture was apparently taken on the mirror of a motorcycle. Brace yourself for it. The rider, while on the road alone, noticed a strange woman's head perched on his shoulder. The peculiar woman had her tongue out, and it was oddly longer than a normal human tongue. Her eyes were pure white, and the skin around her eyes was dark. Keep in mind that when he saw the woman, he was alone on the motorcycle. He hadn't picked up a passenger, and neither had he made a stop that could allow anyone to join him. So who or what on earth was this human sitting behind him? Many in the online community state that it has to be a spirit. Others think the whole thing is a hoax. What do you think?
Duendes are small humanoid creatures believed to be very mysterious, originating from Mexican cultures. Like every other paranormal creature, there are questions about whether they really exist or not. Take a look at this footage. A man was looking out for what he thought to be a rodent when out of nowhere something ran out from behind a wooden box and into a pipe laying on the ground. Take a good look at it again. Do you see that? It's very fast, so it's hard to tell its features. The only thing evident is that it's bipedal. So is this a duende or not? The speed and size of the creature make it difficult to identify clearly, leaving us to wonder about its true nature. What do you think of the whole thing, though? Share your thoughts. Do you know what's better than one bonus clip? 2 bonus clips. We've never done it before, but today we are. Can you tell us what this is? We've quizzed you before and no one had an answer. If we are able to get the right answer today, we've got something extra special for the one who discovers it. I'm going to keep a tight lip on the prize, but believe me when I say you would want this. Start your answer with the word special bonus. Tell us what exactly this is and give us one fact about it. All the best and good luck. Our eagle eyes will be watching.
When it comes to UFO encounters, you mostly hear accounts of one saucer sighting, but in this intriguing footage captured in 2023, a woman's camera lens captured a fleet of saucers dancing in the celestial expanse.
What the fuck?
Not just one, but 3, possibly 4, or perhaps even more of these enigmatic flying objects gracing the firmament. A speculation abounds, with some quick to dismiss these celestial dances as mere drones. A closer inspection reveals the unmistakable silhouette of the classic saucer. You guys see it too, right? What do you think? Please tell us in the comments section. While on a United Airlines flight flying over Denver, Colorado, a passenger spotted this object fly past them. His initial thoughts were, "Oh, a bird." But hey, let's be real, if this was a bird, it'd be one super bird. Whatever this was, it was moving at a speed it would make even the fastest planes look on in envy. Once home, the passenger shared this footage on Reddit, and everyone who saw it was amazed. The speculative buzz surrounding this mysterious object undoubtedly sparked countless debates. Many were quick to point out that it was a saucer. This left them all with more questions than answers. Was it a top-secret government experiment, a cutting-edge aircraft with mind-boggling speed capabilities, or dare we say it, a genuine encounter with visitors from another world? UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike must have had a field day dissecting every pixel of the footage, scrutinizing for clues, and undoubtedly conjuring up a plethora of conspiracy theories. Hopefully it's what they hope for it to be. And if it is, then you and I are in some serious trouble.
Children can be truly fascinating, and it's always important to keep a close eye on them.
What are you talking about, baby?
The river made us pass away.
The river did?
Yes.
The river made me and you pass away?
Yes.
A long time ago?
Yes. And now we're back.
A woman left her young son in front of the television where he was watching serene 8K footage of icy mountains. When she returned, she found him on the couch crying uncontrollably. She got concerned and asked him what was wrong, and his response was chilling. He told her that both he and his mother had passed away in the water, and now he wanted to go back and pass away again in the water. But he insisted he wouldn't come back again. Even more unsettling, towards the ends of his words, he asked her if she would pass away from him too. Hearing a child speak about death in such a way is deeply eerie, but it's not the first time we've heard of such things. Many mothers have shared similar experiences with their children claiming to have lived long ago, dying, and having come back again. Is this some form of past life's memory triggered by a series of specific events, or is there something else at play?
I want to pass away again.
You are?
I want to again.
You want to again?
Yes.
Why?
Because I don't want to be here.
You don't want to be here?
No.
Here we have another home security camera set up, but this time it's a motion sensor camera placed in the backyard of a property. One night, something strange happened. A white object appeared out of the sky and fell straight down. As the camera followed it, the object vanished upon hitting the ground. At first glance, you might think it's just debris flying around, but it wasn't. Then, something even stranger occurred. Right in front of the fence where the green box on the camera tracks movement, tiny orbs start to appear. These orbs floated slowly to the right side of the screen. Just look at that. I'm not sure what this could be. Aaron, however, believes it might be some sort of interdimensional being trying to get human attention and communicate. Some members of the paranormal community also think that's the case, but what do you also think? Are we just making a fuss over something ordinary, or could this really be something paranormal or otherworldly? Have you ever heard of people emitting electricity? No? Well, this couple shared a video that has everyone talking.
Every time we touch, we shock each other. Okay, ready? We're gonna kiss. This happened the very first time. It hurt so bad. It just hurts your lips really bad. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm not mentally prepared. Love you.
Oh my god.
Dude, touch me.
That was
Every single time we touched.
They went out to a grocery store together, and suddenly they noticed something strange. Every time they touched, there was a small zap. They even tried kissing, and you can actually hear a faint zapping sound. This kept happening every time they made contact. The couple had left their house together with nothing out of the ordinary. This bizarre electric spark between them continued until, eventually, when they tried to shake hands one last time, it stopped. After that, they were able to continue their day without any more shocks. Can anyone explain what was going on?
Every time we touch, we shock each other. Okay, ready? We're gonna kiss. This happened the very first time. It hurt so bad. It just hurts your lips really bad. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm not mentally prepared. Love you.
Oh my god.
Dude, touch me.
That was
Every single time we touched.
The implant in my ear is it'll turn on during the interview, and you'll be talking to me and to them.
You don't have an implant. You're pulling my leg.
No, I'm not telling you the truth. You don't know about it? You never read the books?
I read Communion.
Oh, okay. You've only read Communion.
I've only read Communion.
A man named Whitley Strieber, known for his best-selling book Communion, recently shared an extraordinary experience in an interview. According to Strieber, he has an implant behind his ear placed there by extraterrestrial beings. Strieber claims this implant was put in back in 1989. He describes it as an advanced form of intelligence, something like artificial intelligence, but somehow alive. According to him, this device serves as a connection between him and these alien beings, allowing some level of communication or monitoring. Strieber also revealed something even more surprising. He claims that the CIA has taken an interest in this implant and wanted to access the device, but Strieber refused to give it to them. He went on to say that the CIA has established contact with gray aliens and that his implant holds information linking him to them directly. It's a wild story, no doubt. Is it possible there's some truth here?
Why do you think the CIA is so interested in people who have had close encounters?
Well, you know, I think they kind of backed into it because their brief is foreign intelligence. And this is about as foreign intelligence can get.
What's a classified captures episode without a little mystery solving? Yup, that's right. Up next is our bonus segment. Can you guys identify what's on your screen? Remember, I'm not just looking for a name. I would want you to add a genuine fact. I'll be picking the earliest answer with the most interesting fact. May the fastest human, cryptid, or alien win. And yes, we know you non-humans watching our channel as well. We've got our eyes on you. But seriously, all the best. I love reading your comments. Animals are believed to be much more sensitive when compared to humans. Some believe that animals exhibit strange behaviors when they sense danger or something alarming. In this footage, someone noticed something strange with a school of fish. The red fish were all moving in a spiral pattern in the water. They were evenly spaced and moved at a hauntingly slow pace. Fish often display such coordinated movements when they feel threatened. This spiral pattern could be a defense mechanism, an attempt to confuse predators, or a response to environmental changes. Some believe it could also be related to shifts in water conditions or even an impending natural event. What do you think is causing this eerie fish behavior? Could it be a sign of something bigger happening underwater, or is it just another fascinating aspect of animal behavior?
What's wrong? What happened? The table just moved. What the f*** did the table just moved? What do you mean? I swear to God.
This footage comes from a security camera in a tattoo artist's shop, and it captures something rather unusual. The artist was setting up to work on a client when suddenly the table next to her started to move on its own. Though the table had wheels, it didn't look like she touched it or pushed it at all. The artist quickly noticed and grew alert, both she and her client looking around in confusion. But then another table in the corner also slid by itself. That was the last straw. Both women decided to make a run for it. Maybe a ghostly client wanted to book a tattoo appointment too. What do you think could have caused this?
What's wrong? What happened? The table just moved. What the f*** did the table just moved? What do you mean? I swear to God.
A late-night worker was outside when he spotted something unusual moving across the yard nearby. A line of small, shadowy creatures with dark, spiky-looking hair were walking one after another, disappearing around the corner of the building. They were hard to make out in the dim light, so he applied a negative filter to the footage for a better view. Take a look at the tiny figures moving together in a line. They're small, almost childlike in size, but they don't seem like animals or anything ordinary. What could these creatures be? Aaron thinks we may be dealing with duendes, but I would love to hear your thoughts as well. Imagine going to a restaurant to have a meal and the fresh meat served to you starts moving and falls on the ground like this. It's like a scene straight out of a horror movie, making you question what exactly is on your plate. Some say it could be muscle memory causing the movement, where residual nerve activity in the meat causes it to twitch, but that doesn't make it any less creepy. Others state that it's a sign that the meat is exceptionally fresh, and while that sounds nice, it's not exactly comforting when the meat is wriggling on your plate. What do you think though? Would you have gone ahead to cook the meat? Also, are there any of you with a similar experience? Let us know how you handled it in the comments section. were genuinely curious. What do you see? I'm not the only one who finds it hard to subscribe, right? Initially, I thought I was looking at a camel when the clip started, but as the clip progressed and the one filming got closer, I realized that the creature was too small and maybe docile to be a camel. I then waited for whatever it was to open its eyes, but after a few seconds, I realized that the part of the head I thought the eyes would be had nothing there. In fact, it looks like the eyes and face would be around the area I expected the nose to be. Do you see it, or am I losing it? Anyway, after watching the clip multiple times and staring for minutes, I'm unable to make out what the creature is. Perhaps I've looked at so many paranormal clips that I struggle with the normal now. Can you guys help? If this is an obvious one, please be kind to me in the comments section below because I can't make it out. If it's not something usual, then what do you guys think we're dealing with here? I'll be reading the comments. Speaking of orbs, here's another encounter that leaves us with even more questions.
Watch this.
Mírala, 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 mírala. Mira esa luz de ahí. ¿Sí la estás viendo? La luz. ¿Sí la miras la luz o solo la miro yo?
Two women were out in the wilderness when they noticed something hovering just a few feet ahead. Suspended in the air, glowing with an intense light, was a bright orb completely still. The women were so taken aback by its presence that they froze, keeping their distance as they filmed it. They didn't dare go any closer, perhaps fearing that what they might find if they did. Unlike the previous footage of the orb that transformed into a human-like figure, this one stayed exactly as it was. So, what's different here? Could it be that not all orbs have the ability to shift forms, or are there different types of these mysterious lights, each with their own purpose? And if this one isn't a shapeshifter, what else could it be? So many questions, yet not many answers. But can you help?
Watch this.
Mírala, 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 mírala. Mira esa luz de ahí. ¿Sí la estás viendo? La luz. ¿Sí la miras la luz o solo la miro yo?
A woman was walking home one night, taking a shortcut through a wooded area. Partway down the path, she began to feel that familiar chill, as though something or someone was watching her. To ease her nerves, she pulled out a camera and began filming her surroundings. As the camera panned across the trees, it captured a shadowy figure lurking behind a tree to the left. The figure was pitch black with eerily glowing eyes. The woman did not hesitate when she saw it. She turned and sprinted out of there as fast as she could. Now, many people believe this could be a shadow person, while others think it's a skinwalker. But you've seen the clip, so what do you think it is? This footage was taken in Johannesburg, South Africa from a security camera in a parking lot. In the video, a small girl wearing a long, dirty and torn dress appears waddling quickly in front of a car. Her long, black, matted hair, and from the back, she looks like an eerie figure. The unsettling part is when another camera from the opposite side captures her face. Her skin appears extremely pale and both of her arms are twisted unnaturally away from her body. When you look closely at her eyes, they seem to have black circles around them, but the eyes themselves are glowing in a haunting way. Locals believe this is no ordinary child. Many in the area think it's a demonic spirit, possibly taking the form of a child to lure people into a trap. What do you also make of this? Here we have footage taken by a man walking through the woods at night when he began hearing strange noises around him. Out of concern, he started shining his flashlight in all directions, trying to see what was out there. It seemed like something was lurking nearby, but he couldn't spot anything unusual. However, just as the footage was nearing its end, something horrifying happened. A grotesque, pale face suddenly appeared right in front of the camera. Its eyes were hollow, and the face looked disturbingly wrinkled and puffy. The creature was there for a split second before vanishing into the night, as quickly as it had appeared. What was that thing? The US presidential election season is often full of buzz, but this year, one incident at one of Kamala Harris's rallies has really caught people's attention. During her speech, a keen observer spotted something unusual in the crowd. Behind her stood a man who seemed to be staring intently at her when, suddenly, his eyes appeared to turn completely white. Though the footage is a bit blurry, the camera zoomed in on him, and for a brief moment, it looked as if his eyes had lost all color. Then, just as suddenly, they returned to normal. This eerie moment has sparked a lot of online chatter, with some calling him a demon or suggesting there might be something otherworldly about it. What do you think? Could it just be a trick of the camera or something more mysterious? Let us hear your thoughts. Now, let's dive into some groundbreaking tech news. Google has reportedly announced plans to build 7 nuclear reactors by 2035. These reactors are projected to be powerful enough to supply energy to an entire city. But what's even more intriguing is why they're building them. Google plans to use this energy to fuel its future AI technologies. Think about it, we're less than a decade and a half away from a world where tech companies could be running their own nuclear-powered facilities just to keep up with the energy demands of AI. This might sound like the stuff of science fiction, but it's quickly become our reality. If Google plans go forward, it's only a matter of time before we see a future powered by AI and nuclear energy, transforming the way we think about technology and energy forever. A passenger on a plane recently captured some intriguing footage of mysterious lights in the sky. The lights, seen from a distance, appeared to be from some sort of craft, but no visible structure could be identified. The lights seemed to move in an unusual pattern, sparking speculation about what they could be. Some viewers are convinced that this is yet another UFO sighting, while others remain skeptical, suggesting it could be anything from reflections to aircraft lights. Aaron is convinced this has to be the boosters of a spacecraft, while Julius just refused to comment. He called us ludicrous, which hurt my feelings, but, well, what do you guys think? Is this more evidence of extraterrestrial activity or something more mundane? Share your thoughts in the comments section. This footage is coming straight from Jamaica. The man is standing on the roof of a building and his dreadlocks are so long they almost touch the ground. He's been growing these locks for about 40 years. Just imagine the time and care it takes to maintain hair of that length. It's incredible to see how long it's grown. I wonder how he grooms it. It's practically a part of him now. Oh, let me remind you, he's standing on the roof, which makes the length of his hair even more mind-blowing. Let's dive into two eerie pieces of footage captured by different people at unknown locations, showing something massive and unexplainable behind the clouds. In the first video, a man noticed an odd shape lurking behind a large cloud. At first, it looks like an ordinary part of the blue sky, but the top of this object is curved, almost dome-like, while the rest seems to be hidden behind the cloud. It gives the strange impression that something is cloaked in the sky. The second clip is taken by a woman during sunset. It shows something even more dramatic. Against the bright orange horizon, there's a massive curved shape, larger than the first sighting. Bright flashes seem to illuminate the area, briefly highlighting what appears to be a dome-like sky. What could these shapes be? Are they just oddly shaped clouds, or is there something much larger and more mysterious hidden up there? Aaron thinks something extraterrestrial may be at play here. What say you?
Oh my. Do you hear that? Is that happening for you too?
It turns out even superstars aren't safe from eerie encounters. Check out this clip from Taylor Swift's concert when something strange happens. She's seated at the piano, hands off the keys, when suddenly it begins to play on its own. You can see her hands in the air and she's visibly unsettled, looking around in confusion. Could this be the work of a super fan from the other side wanting to join in, or maybe just a technical glitch at the worst possible moment?
I didn't play that, so that means that. Oh my.
Next, we've got another strange clip where a man appears to be interviewing a strange-looking older individual. The man being interviewed has a pure white beard, but his body has a unique and distinctive appearance. His face, shoulders, and chest are a blend of dark and white colors, suggesting that he might have vitiligo. Additionally, his arms look very shrunken, adding to his unusual appearance. Throughout the interview, he only says batata repeatedly when the microphone is placed before him. It seems like the man might have a deformity or a condition that affects his physical condition and speech. This footage raises many questions about his background and condition. If anyone has any insights or information about this individual or his condition, please share your thoughts in the comments below.
Swear to God, that's a fucking person. Dude, flash the light! If you're a person, flash the light!
This footage surfaced on the internet and left a lot of people puzzled. It was posted by a girl who was out one night in her neighborhood when she spotted something strange in the sky. It was a mysterious figure floating in the air. The girl was convinced that it was a human up there, so she yelled out to the figure to flash a light if it was a person, and after a few seconds, there you have it. The figure flashed a light. The next time you see a mysterious being in the sky, never ask it to flash a light, but what could be going on there? Is this some new type of hoax, or did we just witness a person floating in the sky? This incident leaves us with more questions than it does with answers. Aaron is convinced this has got to be a witch, but what do you guys think is happening here? Share your thoughts in the comments section.
That's a fucking person. Dude, flash the light! If you're a person, flash the light! What the fuck is that?
No, what's...
Run! Run!
Guys, wait!
A group of friends went camping enjoying the outdoors, and settled into their tents for the night. One of them had a camera ready to record, capturing the calm night scene. Suddenly, his tent mate burst out of the tent yelling, "Run!" Without asking questions, he bolted out of the tent, joining the rest of his friends who had already started running. When he finally reached a safe distance, he looked back, and this is what he saw. Inside one of the tents was a creature crouched on all fours. It certainly didn't seem human, but if it wasn't, then what on earth was it?
What the fuck is that?
No, what's...
Run! Run!
Guys, wait! Oh. Richtig. Richtig. Sie können gerne versuchen mitzuspielen, meine Damen und Herren. Richtig. Richtig.
You know that spot the difference game? The one when you've given two nearly identical images except for a tiny change somewhere and you have to find it. It's a game that can get intense, especially when the images are full of colorful details and busy characters. Well, there's this little girl who's an absolute genius at it. Watch her as she finds each difference in a blink of an eye without even the most challenging, trickiest images. She barely takes a second, and there she is, pointing out the subtle detail that's different. Meanwhile, most of us would still be scanning both pictures, scratching our heads. How does she do it? Could it be a super sharp eye for detail, or maybe some kind of natural talent for pattern recognition? Well, it turns out it's thanks to a technique called stereopsis training. This method involves the use of stereograms or cross-eyed images, improves binocular vision by teaching both eyes to work together for depth perception. Originally, the young girl, Mara, underwent this vision therapy to address convergence insufficiency, a condition affecting her ability to focus on nearby objects. Through the therapy, her brain adapted, enhancing her visual perception and allowing her to process complex images with impressive speed and accuracy, demonstrating the power of neuroplasty. Impressive, huh?
Richtig. Yep.
It's fascinating that monkeys are the closest animals to humans, but does that mean they can behave like humans when trained? Well, take a look at this next clip.
Are unique in the eyes of God. Now, there appears to be a beast that can talk.
You see it too, don't you? There's an ape wearing glasses and talking. There are all sorts of things wrong with the clip at just the first glance. There's an ape dressed up, wearing glasses and talking. He's not just saying random things. No, sirree. He's actually speaking English. He appears to be talking about God, too. There's something about the way he speaks that makes it look like he's addressing a crowd or lecturing. Is this real or even possible? The simple answer is no. The complex answer is still no. But we can see him or it speaks. How? Well, some of my team members are convinced that's definitely a human being in a mask, and I'm tempted to side with them. But what if by some slim and unlikely chance this is real? Wouldn't that change everything we know about apes? Well, what am I saying? What do I even know? Clearly not much if I'm conflicted about this. Perhaps you guys can help. What do you think we're dealing with here? Share your thoughts in the comments section. I'll be reading.
It's the devil's hand, and I quote, "Behold, the pale horse."
Do demons and demon lords exist? Before you say no, take a look at this clip. Who or what is that? Am I the only one who sees a possible demonic overlord with horns? Now that I've said it out loud, it sounds ridiculous, but hear me out. You see the Garmin and possible horn, right? Tell me that doesn't look like a demon overlord. Well, it's either a demon overlord out there deciding whether to destroy those is watching over, or there's a man with a sick Halloween costume. What's your money on? A home ring camera caught something eerie on tape. A man had parked his car outside on a snowy night. The windshield was covered in a thin layer of snow, untouched, until something strange happened. Out of nowhere, a streak appeared on the windshield, a deliberate mark, but there was no one around. No visible movement, no hand, no object. Now, some skeptics say it could have just been the wind, but, well, let's think about that. Could the wind really create a clear intentional streak like that? It wasn't just random snow blowing away. It looked purposeful. Some who live in the area state it's 100% wind. Others think it's something more. Now, you've seen the clip, so what do you think?
I did grab his butt. I'm single. I couldn't help it. He was just so delicious. So little. Just
When you told me the whole story, I felt like throwing up.
Wow! I feel violated right now. Wow.
Hollywood is a strange place, and if you haven't noticed by now, the truth is starting to come out. With all the exposés happening, people are finally catching on to the darkest side of this industry. One of the most talked about cases is Justin Bieber. He started his career young, and while many think his struggles today are just part of fame, others believe Hollywood itself is to blame. There have been disturbing incidents over the years, from old clips resurfacing of adults saying inappropriate things to him in interviews, women forcing kisses on him on stage, and uncomfortable moments where he was groped while still a minor. All of this, and yet nobody talks about it. Now when you look at him, his behavior, his struggles, his cryptic messages, it's clear that something happened behind the scenes. But instead of asking why, most people just see a celebrity who lost his way. So the real question is, what really happened to Justin Bieber? No one can tell the specifics, but many agree he should just sue them all. What do you think of the whole thing, though?
Well, my parents never gave me the sex talk. Okay. So why don't you give me the sex talk? I feel uncomfortable right now. Aww. Why do you want to know the sex talk from a 15-year-old boy? That's pretty weird.
If you're confused about what you're watching, well, you weren't the only one. At least I was too the first time I saw it. That's not an MRI machine, and the images you see on the right are not poor imitations of the left. No sirree. Scientists are actually trying to build dream reconstruction machines, and what you see on your screen are some tests they're running on what they've built so far. While it's not perfect, you still have to agree that they've made some serious progress. It's only a matter of time before they actually build a fully functioning machine. When I first saw this, I was happy because I'd love to remember some forgotten dreams, but why are they doing it? Why do they want to be able to see our dreams? Also, who's to say they'll stop at dreams? What if the machine somehow gets modified and it's able to sort through our memories and construct our thoughts? You know what, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but what do you guys think of this? A poignant moment at a burial took an eerie and mysterious turn when an unusual phenomenon was captured in a series of photos. In the first image, the scene is solemn yet ordinary. There is a casket on the ground as family and friends stand nearby mourning their loved one. However, in the second photo, something extraordinary appears near the fence. A glowing white figure floats in the background, resembling a being cloaked in a radiant robe with its arms outstretched. The ethereal nature of the figure, its luminosity, and the timing of its appearance have led many to believe that this might be an angel. Family members and attendees, deeply moved by the occurrence, see it as a divine sign, an angelic presence coming to guide their loved ones into the afterlife. While that sounds soothing, that could really be the case. I guess we will never know.
So here, the sound comes back. Why it sounds like a bird?
Ancient architecture is fascinating, especially when it comes to the mysteries hidden within their designs. Take the Kukulkan Pyramid at Chichen Itza. For example, there's a strange phenomenon that occurs when you stand at the base of the pyramid and clap your hands. The sound echoes back in a very unique way. Now, there's a scientific explanation for this. It's due to the reflection and refraction of sound waves created by the pyramid's precise acoustics. But here's the eerie part. The sound that echoes back doesn't just bounce like a normal echo. It mimics the chirping of a bird. And not just any bird, but the Quetzal, a sacred bird in Mayan mythology. The Mayans believed the Quetzal was deeply connected to their gods. So, did they intentionally design the pyramid to create this sound, or is this just an incredible coincidence?
So here, the sound comes back. Why? It sounds like a bird.
The majority of cancers are actually parasite infections, misdiagnosed as cancerous tumors, masses, cysts, period. So if you have uterine fibroids, if you have ovarian cysts, if you have thyroid goiters, if you have liver masses, lung lesions or masses, and you've been told that they're cancerous, or breast nodules, 80% of the time it's actually a parasite egg sac, not cancer or anything.
There's no doubt that cancer diagnoses are becoming more common, affecting people of all ages, including children. But here's an interesting claim that has been making the rounds. A man suggested that some cancers might not actually be cancers at all, but rather parasitic sacs that are being misdiagnosed. According to him, these sacs closely resemble tumors, leading to confusion in medical diagnoses. What makes this even more intriguing is that he claims this information was acknowledged by the CDC but isn't widely discussed in medical schools. He goes even further, stating that one of the leading causes of cancer is snake venom, which can supposedly trigger something called turbocancer. He says this theory was first explored back in the 1990s. If true, then some cases of cancer actually are parasites. Should people be checking for worms before assuming the worst? Wait, worms aren't the only sort of parasites out there, but, well, you get the idea, right?
In America, they get zero education in parasitology, and they are told in America that parasites don't exist in America. However, the CDC says it's very common to get parasites in America. It's very odd that the CDC says that, but the medical schools don't teach that.
We all know about the catastrophic disaster that occurred in Chernobyl back in 1986 when the nuclear plant in Ukraine exploded, leaving a massive wave of radiation in the area, making it uninhabitable and highly dangerous for human life. For decades, scientists have been conducting tests and studies in the exclusion zone, hoping to find solutions to the lingering radioactive contamination. But now it seems nature itself might be stepping in to clean up the mess. Recent discoveries have revealed a black fungus growing inside the nuclear plant. This is no ordinary fungus. This one eats radiation. Yeah, you heard that right. When scientists studied this fungus, they discovered it uses radiation as a source of energy. Essentially, it converts the harmful radiation into something it can digest and use to thrive. This remarkable ability makes it a natural radiation-cleaning fungus, something that could one day be a game-changer for dealing with radioactive contamination. In this bizarre footage, a person reaches down to the dirt and brushes away the soil, revealing this. It's a strange, fleshy-looking object, wrinkled, pale, and unnervingly alive. As if that wasn't eerie enough, its pulsating, slow rhythmic movements make it look like a beating heart. The person casually draws a smiley face on it with their finger, and the thing just sits there, continuing to pulse like some organic alien material straight out of a science fiction movie. What is this? A family went to visit this San Diego SeaWorld. They filmed their entire experience on camera, and one of the highlights was the ice wall exhibit. When they pressed their hands against the ice, the warmth from their palms melted it slightly, leaving small dents behind. The family was fascinated, laughing as they placed their hands over each other's prints and watched the ice react. At the time, they were completely unaware of what else they had captured. It wasn't until after they posted the footage online that they noticed something deeply unsettling. Inside one of the dents was what looked like a human eye staring directly at them. But the ice wall is solid, meaning there's no way to see through it like glass, so how did an eye appear? Some believe it was just a natural pattern in the ice resembling an eye. Others think something may have already been stuck in the wall. But if it wasn't an illusion, it raises an even darker question. Was someone or something frozen inside? Let's hope that's not the case.
Your hand on there for a while, it'll start melting through the ice. Then was there a horse in here? Oh no, somebody had their hand in here.
Wait, how did it think that?
You'd have to be here and have no life and no desire to do anything else but just sit here.
A man convinced he wasn't alone in his home set up a camera to capture anything unusual. One day, while he was at work, his motion-activated camera recorded something truly unsettling. The footage shows the camera slowly panning from the door to the wall as if scanning the room. It lingers for a few seconds before shifting back, and that's when we saw it. A strange shadow begins to emerge from the side of the door. It shifts slightly, and then, just as suddenly, the camera moves away. When it returns to the door, the shadow is gone. But here's the creepy part. The shadow came from the narrow gap between the door frame and the wall, far too small for any human to fit through. And even stranger, it's almost as if the entity noticed the camera and disappeared the moment it realized it was being watched. Naturally, the man was shocked when he reviewed the footage, but the real question is, how did it know the camera was there? And more importantly, what exactly are we dealing with? This man was simply taking a photo in a parking lot at work. He was standing in front of his car with the camera close to his face, capturing a casual moment. But here's where things take a strange turn. If you zoom in on the car behind him, you'll notice a figure sitting there. At first glance, it looks like a person, but here's the unsettling part. He was completely alone. He drove to the parking lot solo and wasn't accompanied by anyone. So who or what is that figure? Could it be an illusion caused by the reflection on the car window, or is it something far more mysterious? I recently stumbled upon a fascinating and slightly eerie piece of technology. It was developed by a scientist at Cornell University. This spider-like contraption is a small robot attached to a mushroom, but it's not just a quirky design. The mushroom's nervous system is directly integrated with the robot, allowing the robot to move based on signals from the fungus. To achieve this, the scientist cultivated mycelium, which is the root-like network of fungi, directly into the robot. This setup enables the robot to respond to the electrical impulses generated by the mushroom, essentially turning the fungal network into a kind of organic controller. If you've ever watched The Last of Us, this innovation might give you chills. These days, we have no idea what's really going on in our skies. If you've been following such news, then this one is for you. One man using a flight radar tracking app noticed some very suspicious activity, and what he saw left him with more questions than answers. There were planes and helicopters flying in strange, erratic patterns. Some weren't following any clear flight path. Instead, they were circling the same area over and over. And many of these aircraft seemed to hover around certain locations right before rainfall. But here's where it gets even stranger. Some of these mysterious crafts would land on mountains, remote places where no airports exist. and then they'd vanish from the radar completely. Tracking planes like this isn't illegal. There are public apps that allow anyone to do it. But why are we seeing so many unusual flight patterns? Some believe this is proof of a long-standing theory that the government is spraying chemicals over us to alter the weather or even manipulate our minds, and some of these aircrafts don't even seem to be registered. A member of the community stated that they had the app and that usually the planes with multiple tracking could be tracked. They also mentioned that sometimes these planes would appear with 2 green lines behind them and that, at times, they were not registered. Not sure how this information helps out, but what do you guys think?
I was actually looking at the Tonto National Forest, and there were airplanes which were just spiraling all over the place before the storm happened. And then the other ones that I saw were going around and landing on top of mountains and doing all kinds of weird stuff. So lots of very strange stuff on the flight radar map.
Now let's take a look at this mug shot of Justin Timberlake. Justin has been a Hollywood elite for years, but people noticed something strange about this particular image: his eyes. If you look closely, his pupils appear to have slits, just like reptilian eyes. Now, we all know about the long-running conspiracy that claims Hollywood elites and celebrities are actually reptilian shapeshifters, and honestly, this photograph isn't doing Justin any favors. But skeptics argue that this is just a reflection from the camera making his pupils look like slits. But what do you think? Is Justin Timberlake reptilian or not? Just in case you were wondering, these were captured by a Trailcam set up by a cabin in the woods. Somehow, in the middle of the night, it captured 4 strange figures standing in the darkness, their backs turned to the lens. 3 of the figures were grouped on the right, while a solitary figure stood to the left. The forms appeared humanoid, but they were entirely white, giving them an almost spectral quality. Their eerie stillness and otherworldly appearance only added to the mystery. What could these figures be? Some speculate they're spirits, perhaps wandering souls tied to the land. Others believe there's the possibility that this is a hoax. But everyone's entitled to their own opinions, right? Anyway, what do you think these spectral figures could be? Speaking of aliens, this footage is from Los Angeles, California. A driver noticed this UFO in the sky, an object in the sky that immediately stood out. Los Angeles has always been a hotspot for unusual aerial phenomena, with some attributing it to the city's proximity to military testing sites or Area 51 just a state away. But what if it's not military at all? Could this be evidence of extraterrestrial activity? While driving home one night, traffic came to a standstill, and the reason why had everyone talking. There were police cars everywhere surrounding a massive truck carrying an enormous tank-like structure on its back. Naturally, people started getting suspicious. If it was just a normal transport, why would the police be involved, causing such heavy traffic? Some viewers speculated that it was a high-voltage transformer, possibly from a power company. If that's the case, there's nothing to worry about. But given everything that's been happening lately, some aren't so sure. Could this be a top-secret technology, or something even stranger like a hidden camera, an unknown device, or even something extraterrestrial? Many seem to favor the latter. And honestly, can you blame them? After everything we've seen and heard, it's not that far-fetched. Someone noticed a strange cloud in the sky, but take a closer look. That moving cloud doesn't even look like a real cloud. Instead, it seems like a round, transparent object mimicking the clouds around it. Even stranger, it's lower than the other clouds and moves in a controlled, calculated way. I mean, it's so subtle that if you weren't paying attention, you might miss it. If you're familiar with these kinds of sightings, you already know what people are thinking. A cloaked UFO. Skeptics argue that there's nothing extraterrestrial about it. Instead, they believe this could be a human-made technology, possibly using cloaking devices that we don't fully understand yet. And yes, that was a bear, and yes, he just let a bear out of the truck. A very big one at that. How did it get in there? Oh, no one knows, but I'm very sure that both the bear and the owner of the truck will be glad it's out. Not sure what led the bear into the truck in the first place, but who knows, maybe it thought it was a taxi.
Alright, go ahead and unlock it. Sure? Yep, that's sure as I'm gonna be. Oh my god. Oh! Oh! That is not what you wanted. Oh! Now it won't lock because he...
The video playing on your screen takes us back to 1964. It's an interview with a man named George Van Tassel, who made a bold and fascinating claim that an alien provided him with the formula for time travel. Van Tassel explained that the moon's craters were more than just geological features. They were alien bases known to the FBI and the American government. Even more intriguing, he described the aliens as human-like, resembling white men with tans. However, Van Tassel's story took a dark turn. He later passed away, and the FBI allegedly seized all of his work. Conspiracy theories suggested his wife was contracted to kill him, though no proof of this exists. Was Van Tassel onto something, or was it all a hoax? My guess is we'll never really find out, but I do wonder if Donald Trump lives on the moon. I mean, they're talking about white guys with tans.
Years ago, they wondered why this particular crater had these lines in it. And with the magnification which you can get with the larger telescopes, this is what they found. These lines are tubes laying on the surface of this crater and running under some of the mountain ridges.
A group of men stumbled upon a strange pink sack-like creature washed up on the rocks by the ocean. When they turned it over, it looked even weirder, almost like human flesh, wrinkled and sagging with an odd opening in the center. One of the men decided to pour coke on it, and that's when things got even stranger. The creature squirted out a thick white fluid and then suddenly exploded. Now, it's unclear whether they put some kind of explosive in it or if the reaction was caused by the coke, but either way, this was one bizarre sighting. Some are saying it could be a deep-sea organism, possibly a type of tunicate or sea squirt, creatures that contract and expel water when disturbed. But the explosion part makes this so unusual. Is there any sea life expert here to help us decode this one? This TikToker, known for sharing videos of wrecked cars and the stories behind them, posted something that completely caught her off guard. In the footage, she was showing the inside of a damaged car, explaining the backstory of the accident. But when the camera panned over and the front passenger floorboards, something unexpected happened. A pair of tiny glowing eyes appeared and then vanished. Take a look again in slow motion. Right there. The woman was shocked and convinced that this might be the ghost of a small dog that was in the car during the crash. Oddly enough, not everyone who watched the video could see it. Some think it was just dust or a light reflection, while others firmly believe it was the spirit of a dog caught on camera. So take a good look. What do you see?
Strange stuff. That's crazy. That's crazy. Floating branch.
Should we be worried or scared? If you're asking why, then I take it that you're not aware of all that's been happening recently. The first clip was from New Jersey. Yeah, New Jersey again, where strange UFOs were seen in the sky. The second is from California. While the Californian clip is a bit different because we don't have UFOs, there's a branch floating in the sky and it's not an isolated incident. We've seen similar in places like Idaho where there are branches floating in the sky for no apparent reason. Some have decided to call this a glitch, whereas others think it's got something to do with our planet's gravity not working properly. The situation is not helped by the fact that the government deploys the military in some of these areas where a lot of these odd and unusual things are happening. This has led some stating and believing that the government may actually have an idea about what's going on. Until we can prove that, we'll just have to leave that theory alone. Either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts on these clips. You've seen them. What do you think that we are dealing with?
What is that? What is that though? What is that? Why is someone running? No, lower it down, lower it down. You're dumb as
By now, many of us have heard of Randonautica. It's a mysterious app that sends users to random coordinates for what seems to be a fun, adventurous experience. But over time, the app has become infamous for leading people to eerie and unsettling places. In this chilling story, two friends decided to try Randonautica late at night. They followed the app to an open, isolated area, but what happened next turned their fun outing into something straight out of a nightmare. As soon as they stood there, they noticed something moving across the forest on the other side. It wasn't a person, it was a humanoid creature running at an unnatural speed. Its glowing, piercing eyes through the darkness reflecting the light around. And just as quickly as it appeared, the creature vanished into thin air, gone without a trace. The friends were unable to process what they'd just seen. What kind of creature moves so fast with glowing eyes, only to disappear into nothing? Was it paranormal, a glitch in reality, or something else entirely?
Where it was running? What the fuck? Okay.
This is where it was running.
That's where it was running. Ain't no way, dog.
A home ring camera picked up something truly strange in someone's backyard. In the dead of night, a person can be seen moving away from the house, walking directly toward the fence. But here's the eerie part. This figure does not stop, it just glides right through the wooden fence as if it isn't even there. You can see the shadow of this person passing in front of the light, so it seems real enough. It even looks like a man in a cap. But that ability to move effortlessly through solid wood, well, that's definitely not something we'd call human. So what's going on here? Are we seeing some kind of superhuman ability, or is this figure a ghostly presence caught on film? Here's yet another terrifying clip the couple shared from their unsettling new home. In this footage, the woman was home alone with their dog when she heard a loud banging noise coming from downstairs. She went to check, only to find their dog standing on a door. This door is from an opening above the stairwell in the wall, located just below the ceiling. What's creepy about this is that they had tried to open that door before, but it seemed securely sealed. Now it had somehow come loose on its own. And as if that wasn't disturbing enough, one of her husband's shoes was sitting right beside the opening in the wall, as though placed there intentionally. Understandably freaked out, the woman decided to back away and wait for her husband to get home. Looks like the couple are in for a ride with whatever is in there with them. Sometimes things aren't always what they seem to be. Take a look at this clip, for instance. The lights were off, but there was light coming in through the windows, and in the middle of the room there appeared to be the silhouette of a head. You could clearly see the nose and lips, and it looked so real. However, as the person got closer, they realized it was just a stack of caps hanging there. It's amazing how our minds can be tricked by shadows and light, making us see things that aren't really there. This footage is a perfect example of how easily we can be deceived by our perceptions. Have you ever experienced an optical illusion like this? Share your stories in the comments section. A man walks into an abandoned bunker, and the floor is covered in red, still water. No ripples, no sound, just a glassy red pool stretching across the room. It looks like blood, but it's not, and somehow that makes it even more unsettling. Imagine walking into that silence. The air is heavy, and the color of the water so vivid it almost glows. It feels like you've stepped into something you were never meant to see, and naturally the theories start flying. Was this the site of a secret experiment? Chemical runoff? Some kind of ritual space? Well, some people say it's paranormal, maybe a spiritual hotspot, maybe a portal. Who knows? But here's the science behind it. That strange red color can come from a couple of things. One is microscopic life, halosophilic organisms like Dunalilia salina or halobacteria. These tiny life forms love salty, stagnant places, and when they bloom, they can turn water a deep red. The other culprit, iron oxide. When metal in the bunker walls or floors starts to rust and leach into the water, it stains everything red. It's basically liquid rust sitting there quietly, waiting for someone to ask too many questions. But just because it isn't blood doesn't mean it's safe. That water could be toxic, loaded with bacteria, chemicals, or gases just waiting to be disturbed. Bunkers were built to contain things. Whatever's in there might be better left alone. So no, it's not blood, but honestly, that might have been the least terrifying option. And with that, we end today's episode. Thank you for staying with us. Before you go, are there clips and videos you think we should have featured by now that we haven't? Well, the good news is you can share them with us and we will post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have. My name's Steve. This has been Classified Captures. Share this with someone you love, and I'll see you in the next one.